Hello, hi everyone. Thanks for joining this community call. Um, we want to give you some very interesting updates on what we've been working in the past couple of months. But also, I want to discuss the current market conditions. I'm testing my new setup now. Should be much better. You should be able to see me and listen to me much better than before. Hello, hi everyone. Thanks for joining today. Would like to give you quick updates on what we've been working on tech side, marketing side, as well as business development. But on this call, I also want to talk a little bit about the whole market situation, how we are tackling this state of the market, and then I want to also like give the community a couple of advices regarding their holdings and what I think about the whole like structure, exchanges, hardware wallets, etc., and how also Reef is working to improve this much more than what the other ecosystems are offering and the other wallets. Also, as you've noticed, we've upgraded our microphone and camera finally. I'm still waiting on the better lighting. The lighting is not ideal right now, but I hope from the next live stream onwards it would be much better. What I want to talk first is the market conditions. We are aware that a lot of people are being hurt by FTX. As you all know, we've had like a big clash with them over a year and a half ago. The actions that they were doing were not ethical at all, and obviously after them continuing to like do this for a very long time, they finally blew up, and I actually think that this is good for the landscape. Obviously, we feel for all the users that are suffering, but this would make the landscape more resilient. This is basically the cleanup from bad actors, the actors that were reducing the reputation of the landscape, and they're slowing down the innovation. They're um, they're interfering with the natural progress that this landscape would have had. But either way, we are still here. We've been prepared for bad times. So we are in a very good position right now because there is more and more talent that's becoming available. So we are really expanding our team in times like this. The project is very well funded. There are many important investors who are still very present in the landscape. They're not over leveraged like the other ones. Their process is completely different, and I think some of them they're also talking about their process. So we are really working on associating Reef with these tier one funds that will really help us and grow the ecosystem on a much more rapid speed than we would otherwise do it on our own. Um, Regarding what I wanted to talk a little bit about the market is basically, and this is a little bit educational. So what happens here is you can split the whole landscape into two different distinct subsets. So the first one is the actual blockchain tech, and during bad times like this, there was not a single blockchain that went down. Everything was working perfectly. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Reef, like there was no downtime on any of them. Either though there were like a lot of transactions, a lot of unwinding of DeFi and liquidation, etc. So this tech is really, really resilient. We're talking like military grade here. It's like aircraft software. Like that's why it's taking so long to build something like this. But once it's out there, it just cannot be stopped pretty much. And the landscape, the blockchain landscape proved it once again. And then we have the exchanges and the whole centralized part, which is also currently the bridge between the traditional financial world and the blockchain world. So this is where the problem happened. So what happens is basically a lot of users, they keep their tokens on exchanges, and what this does, and the way it works is each user gets an address. It's your address. Once you deposit on that address, they record in their own database the amount of tokens that you have, and then the tokens on chain are forwarded further in a cold wallet or in a hot wallet, and that's where it's stored. So these exchanges are acting as custodials, and they are the biggest custodials. So what happens is, on daily basis or weekly basis, they can see the difference between inflow and outflow. So most of the people still keep their tokens on those exchanges. So these exchanges, some of these exchanges, they such as FTX, and I'm pretty sure there are more. They figured, well, the users keep the tokens with us, so why don't we create another business model on top, which is super dangerous, and that's what FTX did. And they were like, why don't we lend the users tokens to certain to another exchange that which will allow leverage trading, or to some investors, or maybe they can put it as a collateral. So what this does is similar to what the traditional financial banking is. It becomes fractional reserve. So basically, people are withdrawing funds. Let's say they withdraw only 3 to 5% per week, but then you have inflows and outflows. So you have like 90% of the funds that are sitting in cold wallet are not doing anything. And if you ask me, that's exactly what's supposed to be happening, because those exchanges are not financial institutions like banks, but they should act just as a custodial, right? So certain exchanges did not do this. They started playing with the users' tokens, and then someone noticed this, that they were taking the users' funds, and then they were collateralizing these loans with FTT, with some of their tokens, and then someone figured this out, and then once once the news went out, people started withdrawing, and the fact that they were playing fractional reserve meant that there were not enough tokens to fulfill the withdrawals, and then the whole panic happened, and then they went bankrupt. That's pretty much what happens. So the lesson that everyone needs to learn from this is you should use those exchanges to just get in or get out of certain tokens, but you don't want to hold your funds there. So what you want to do is you want to learn how self-custody works, which is the core concept of the blockchain landscape. You have to own the private keys. Otherwise, what you see in the mobile app are not really your tokens. They're IOUs. It's like the exchanges, there is a counterparty risk. You trust the exchange that when you click withdraw on chain, that they would honor the withdrawal. And obviously, exchanges like Binance, which are super reputable, they will always do that. As we've seen, they were working on like proof of reserves and everything to make sure that to let the community know that they're actually not doing anything with the user's funds, but they're actually just custodial. Um, but some exchanges didn't do this, so there is always like risk that some of these exchanges, when their main business model stops working for whatever reason, they, instead of killing the company, they would try to do other stuff such as fractional reserve. So a big story short, and that's one of the reasons why we were giving out ledgers for free, pretty much, because we wanted to encourage the users to take their tokens off exchanges so they can actually interact with the technology. So if you're just using exchanges, you're not really interacting with the tech that we are building. You're just interacting with a centralized system that's written, that's powered by a standard SQL database. So it's very Web 2.0. Some exchanges like Binance, they added like proxy government method, so you could still technically participate in what was happening. Or for example, when they add staking, they do all the hard lifting for you. They would deploy a node, they would vote under certain nominator, and then they would proxy the rewards, so it's easy for the users to do one click staking. But I still suggest that users start learning how to do this on their own. What we are doing on this now is we've been working on the hardware wallet support. It's been done from our side over 4 months ago. It's been audited. It passed the audit. It's currently in development mode in Ledger. We are talking to them on weekly basis to finalize and then push this live. And then our extension has support for the hardware wallet. And right now we are working on the Reef mobile wallet, which will also have support for Ledger, as well as other protocols like Wallet Connect. So the safest, so basically when we talk safety, the safest by far is using hardware wallet, then mobile wallet, then extension. So this is like a small sneak peek. This is the wait, I actually can't show it because I have a virtual background. I'll try to turn it off. So we've just um, we've just like released the mobile app into a test flight mode. It's still super very early, but it has support. It has support for NFTs and for transferring tokens and for swapping tokens, and it's all self custody. So all your private keys are stored in a very secure storage in the phone, which is protected by biometrics. So it's almost impossible for you to get hacked unless obviously someone kidnaps you, which is again a risk. That's why this wallet should still be used, in my opinion, as a hot wallet, not as a cold wallet. So you would just have funds here enough to interact with the products. But if you are holding like a bigger amount of funds, it's always good to use Ledger, and eventually you will be able to connect Ledger directly on the mobile, because there is a Bluetooth version of the Ledger, so it will be super secure. What we are doing on the mobile app. So I'm not sure if the users saw our UI kit. I suggest that they go and they give feedback. Basically, the website is ui-kit.reef.io. This is like a browser for all the Reef components. So all these components are used throughout our dApps. So if you see like our wallet, our block explorer are all using these components in the background. So what we are doing right now is we are creating these components for the Flutter framework, and the Flutter framework is compiling basically into native code base. So this mobile app is not just a web version wrapped into a mobile. It's done completely from scratch. So it's using native components. You could see the taptic feedback, the vibrations, like the security. Basically, it's done properly. We've seen a lot of wallets that are built with web technology, but I'm a web developer myself, and I've been actually using these web frameworks like Ionic and Cordova, and you just cannot create the level of user experience that you can create with native components. So what this does is basically we will also release these components so other dApps can also use them in their mobile apps. So their mobile apps will also be native. And then we keep we keep like consistency throughout the whole ecosystem, high quality, good UI UX experience, and then the users are not confused, they're not scared of using or of clicking the wrong buttons. Everything is really just there. And we've just went through like a feedback loop with a couple of our teammates, and this app is looking very good. We are still pushing to publish it by the end of the year, even though it would have to go through some third-party audits as well as Apple approvals. So that might delay it a little bit, but we already have it up and running on test flight. It will be available for iPhone and Android, so iOS and Android as well. And then you would have inside, basically you'll be able to also use Reef Swap. You'll be able to receive NFTs and send NFTs. You can create multiple accounts. You can connect the mobile app directly to the browser, so you can still like use the dApp on desktop, but you're actually using the mobile wallet. So all these things are basically the foundation of the ecosystem. And then it's an example of what other dApps need to do in order for them to be like kind of not approved by us but endorsed by us, so we can put like a quality check that yes, they're using our components, this UI looks really good. And then this encourages also users, not just encourages, but it also gives them confidence that this app, uh, either like a desktop dApp or a mobile dApp, that it's actually, if it's approved by by the Reef team, that would mean that it's not a scam, it's not a phishing. It would be very hard for Reef users to get on a phishing website, because we are working on a um, whitelisting mechanism. So when you are trying to use the wallet on some very unknown website, we will like run you through like some explanation why you should probably not want to use this dApp. Obviously, it's your funds, it's your private key, so you can always override this. But MetaMask and some of these popular extensions, that they could do this whitelisting, but they still haven't done it, and many users are suffering. So it's not just self-custody. So back to the big problem. So it's not just self-custody. The ecosystems, they need to improve their user experience so that users are not afraid to do self-custody. Because I've been talking to a lot of my friends, and they're like, yeah, but I'm scared to save my private key. What if I forget it? What if I get hacked myself? Then I'm the only one that got hacked. It's not like the exchange got hacked, but it's probably me. And every time I click some of these buttons through MetaMask on some website, I've heard stories where some users lost all of their NFTs from their wallet, etc. So we are really working to make sure that this does not happen, or the chances that this would happen would be much lower than the other ecosystems. And with this, we are pretty confident that we can become one of the most secure, not just one of the most user friendly, but one of the most secure ecosystem as well. So that's regarding the wallets. Now there is so this is like on the very front end. These are the products that users are interacting with. But then to get to this point, there are many layers below that we've been working on for the last couple of years, basically. So um, in order to get to a point where you are shipping end user products such as dApps and wallets, you have a couple of things in between the blockchain and this. And this is called the tooling, right? So these are the tools that help with interacting the blockchain and consuming the blockchain. So one of the most important component is called a crawler, or indexer. So what this does is, the blockchain itself, the tech, is not very optimal for querying. So what does querying mean? If you wanna go past 3-4 months ago, and if you wanna be like, hey, give me all the transactions that happened in the last 6 months, or give me all the Reef 20 transactions from this token in the last 6 months. If you actually don't have your blockchain indexed, querying would take a very long time because you have to go block by block, and then you have to find for that user that token, and then you just have to traverse the blockchain back and forth, back and forth. And this is a super non-efficient operation. That's why all the blockchains, what happens is whenever a new block is confirmed, they go through the block, they extract all the data, and then they store it in a very fast database. And then all the wallets, all the dApps are basically powered by this database. So what we are doing now is we are rebuilding the indexer from scratch. Even though our indexer right now is working very well, the networking layer is very good because everything is real time. And even this mobile app, you will never have to like pull to refresh. Everything is just real time, so you just click something. Even if you load the same wallet in multiple, let's say you have the same seed, you import the same wallet in mobile and in desktop. Whenever you do operations on either of these devices, everything is automatically synced, the data is pushed everywhere. So you don't really, it's like a game basically. When you're playing like some complicated game, you don't have to refresh to see if you received something in the inventory, it just pops up. So same here, when you get an NFT, you don't have to refresh, everything is real time. So this layer is very important because it's tied to the indexer. And this is what we're working on, to completely redo this part to make it much more scalable. And with this, you will feel at that point you will feel how fast the Reef blockchain actually is, and then all the dApps will behave the same. Like if we nail this and we are working on it, then all the dApps, even if you go on Squid, the NFT marketplace, you will see how fast this app works. It's just very optimized code, as well as optimized networking layer. So that's on the tooling side. Obviously, there were like a lot of other work on the supporting stuff, like deployment of smart contract, validating a chain of smart contracts, etc. This is constantly evolving. Like this part of the project will never like be done fully, because you can always improve it. And then we go all the way. So this was the middle layer, the tooling part, and we are right now focused on the indexer. And now the bottom layer, which is the actual blockchain itself. This is the most complex part. So our blockchain is written in Rust. It's built with the Substrate framework. It has EVM for some of the users that are not very familiar. We have EVM support. So the way our blockchain works is it's very different from Ethereum and BSC. Basically, the EVM is just one module, and it's completely detached from the rest of the blockchains. From the rest of the blockchain. So the validating of blocks, the governance, the staking, the nominating is completely detached from the EVM. So the EVM is just a smart contract execution layer. And then we had to support EVM because it's the most adopted smart contract execution layer. So that's why we decided to go first with that. But now we are working on the second VM, and this would make Reef the first layer one which will have support for multiple virtual machines. This I cannot explain how important this is, because technically Reef, or practically Reef blockchain, cannot be deprecated. In 1 year, if people find out, or they discover, or they build a better smart contract platform, and everyone is like, yeah, we don't want to do EVM anymore, like this is like advanced smart contract platform, WebAssembly, smart contracts written in Rust. A lot of blockchains that are currently just EVM only will have big issues supporting the new smart contract execution layer. Well, to us it's very simple, because it's just another module. We can push it through an on-chain upgrade. So the validators such as Binance, they will not even have to like reinstall the client, none of that. So it's just gonna happen on its own. After the auditing is finished, we just push another VM, and then the users will be able to not just deploy Solidity smart contracts, but whatever the next virtual machine will be. And right now we are working on Rust virtual machine. It's a pretty complex virtual machine, but this really gets smart contracts to the next level. So we don't have exact timeline. It will definitely not be this year, the second virtual machine, but we are targeting sometime Q2, including all the audits for next year. So let's see. It's a very complex thing, and it's not easy to determine because there's so many challenges. There's like other parties involved, and then you have the whole auditing and the auditing companies, because it's new tech, they might not support auditing for that, so we have to work together with them and like educate their auditors, etc. So it's taking some time, but once it's out there, it's just gonna work flawlessly. So that's on the tech side. So to summarize, there is a lot of work being done on the wallets, a lot of work being done on the indexer, and a lot of work being done on the multi virtual machine. So that's basically that. Now we can go to the marketing and then the business development, and how. So what happens is, based on where the market is, the team needs to do different strategies. Like some things that worked 6 months ago, the marketing and business development doesn't work anymore in times like this. So in times like this, let me talk about the business development. So right now, our business development is very focused on developers. As you've seen, we are really like going big on expanding the developer community, physical hackathons, a lot of presence. We're spending a lot of resources on education. We are working on redoing the whole documentation to be even more developer friendly. And then this is we are also deploying a lot from the Reef ecosystem fund. Basically, we are working with universities. We are working with smaller dev shops that are passionate about building dapps, etc. So we are really, in times like this, I think the most uh, productive thing is to basically fund developer related activities, and that's what we are doing. We are also going to ETH India, which is one of the biggest conferences. There is a lot of side events. We are also hosting one big side event where there will be a workshop. We already have like over 400 developers that signed up to participate. There will be a hackathon, interesting rewards. Um, so what is our process here, and what we want? What is our end goal with these developer activities? Um, so each ecosystem, it's a similar they have their own process, and I believe that what's important is that you don't just stop at certain activity and then just not do anything. So what we want to do is we want to find developers and help them get from a hackathon all the way to a project that they would own. Basically, let's say there is someone in India who is very passionate about building smart contracts, and they've learned Solidity, and now they want to participate in Web3. So they would come on some of our workshops. We would get to know them. They will be invited to the developer group on Element, and then they can start participating in the activities. They can start earning rewards. And then what we do, we have these devs from our side that are monitoring the progress. They're monitoring the code base that these people are pushing. And then what we are doing, the people that are really committed and they put a lot of effort, we try to take them to the next step. So the next step would be they either join part of some of our teams of the Reef basically team, because we have multiple teams. So if we see that their skill set really fits, let's say on the NFT marketplace or on the DEX side, we would ask them if they're interested to join, or they would be part of a let's say new project, new DApp, that we will be supporting from the beginning with grants. And it will not be just one developer. We can get three developers that don't know each other, and we can put them in a team, and we'll be like, look, there is this cool idea, this DApp that we believe will contribute a lot in our ecosystem, so let's build this one. And then these people basically start to build this depth. And then over time, once we see the progress, once we show it to some of our investors, we start we help them with marketing, with business development, with fundraising as well. So we want, and eventually some of these developers might end up being like a CTO of that project itself, or even CEO of that project itself. So that's our process. Like we don't want to just support, just do hackathons and then do nothing. We just wanna, it's like a funnel basically. We want to work with the talent, and out of these 400 people, there will be like at the end maybe 5, 6, 10 of these people that will be like project lead or a CTO of certain project. And this is really like a very efficient way to grow the ecosystem while having also control on the quality. Because then, these teams, we will advise them to use our components, like our UI kit. We'll advise them to use the auditing companies that we use. We'll give them like our processes, because like for example, you have in order for certain code base that's written by some developer, in order for this code to enter into production, it needs to pass a couple of stages. We have like our own pipeline, how it's getting deployed and tested, and different environments, etc. So these are all some quality standards that we can basically apply to these projects, and then the outcome would be that whatever this ecosystem ships, it will always be similar to Apple, like Apple Music, um, Apple Calendar, Apple Clock, everything that is under the Apple ecosystem umbrella works really, really well and is really consistent. So this is what we are trying to achieve, and we believe that allocating resources for developers during bear market is the most efficient way to grow the ecosystem. So this is exactly what we are doing on this front. And then on the marketing side, as you guys been following us, we were a big sponsor on the local race, on the local F1, which was the last race for the year in Abu Dhabi. Pretty much the sponsorship package that FTX was supposed to receive, we got it, because and then we've had a lot of exposure. Reef was everywhere. It was really, really exciting. We were giving out cool merch, and then we met a lot of people that are interested in Reef, a lot of funds that are interested, and then these funds are supporting a lot of communities, a lot of development activities. So it was really like a good way to trigger like a network effect and interest. Obviously, in times like this in bear market, these are very valuable things, because a lot of projects right now, they have a lot of problems with funding. They have a lot of problems with runway. It's hard for them to raise money. They're basically like, they have a lot of internal politics. So we don't have any of these problems, and that's why we are still able to be productive. As you guys seen, also Binance, the exchange, these guys are growing even more, because they, similar to how Reef is growing, because all this competition was actually not real competition, right? They were just some people that portrayed themselves as like a, a competitor exchange, or a competitor ecosystem in our case. But in reality, we are doing much more, and we are progressing. So our fundamentals are really growing a lot. So I think this is all the things that I wanted to discuss today. More on the marketing side, I don't have to repeat. You're all already following our social media. You can see all the activities that we are involved with. There's so many things that even I cannot follow everything. It's just different teams working on different regions, on different activities. So it's really good times for us. And again, during a bearish market, we are positioned very well to grow. So I want to go through some questions now. Let me just pull up this. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Benji asked regarding governance proposals. So right now, the easiest way to basically there is one way to participate in governance, which is by becoming a validator or becoming a nominator. But we are working on a portal where we would submit the Reef improvement proposals, similar to how other like big chains like Ethereum have, and then we are working on a standardized template for the improvement proposal, which have to be filled by us, by third party outside developers, and then everyone will vote on this, and then this way we can prioritize what needs to be done, because so far we've been focused on things that must be done, like all these wallets, all these UI kit, indexers, dexes, NFT marketplaces, block explorers. All of those things, they're a must have. They will for sure be like the first priority to build. But now the core team is focused on adding another virtual machine, which I believe it's the right thing to do in terms of roadmap. But since we want more feedback, we want to involve people further in the governance, we are working on deploying this governance portal, and then people will be able to vote on these improvement proposals. And then they're not really improvement, they're like features, right? Obviously some of them might be some bug fixes, but yeah. Let me take a look. Oh yeah. So someone asked, can you tell us more about the MEBA awards? So basically, we are happy that we won the most promising Web3 ecosystem in this region. Right now, a lot of our adoption and business development activities are focused around Middle East. This environment is really supportive. As we've seen, they also like supported a lot of exchanges with licenses, etc. Same situation with layer ones. We are working with really big names in the background on coming up with different solutions, how they can utilize the blockchain. It's not just end user, but these are also big businesses that are interested in utilizing the blockchain on their day-to-day operations. So there's so many things going on that front. Obviously, we cannot share until things are official and final. But this reward was tied to this because there is some there is a like a jury that it's like a bunch of people that are very involved in the legislation and in the whole blockchain innovation kind of like office here. And these people, they've noticed that we are one of the most active ecosystems in this region, and this is why we basically won this award. And this is just the first step. There is many more things coming that we are working on in this region, and this is like really really exciting stuff. And it's not all user facing products, it's also like infrastructure for businesses and for really important names. So that's regarding the award. Yeah, so Flavio asked, what about partnerships with big financial players? So I can give like a little bit. I cannot still share names. It's again it again adds on the previous question. So blockchain can be similar to like any other tech product. It can be focused on end user, or it can be focused on a business on a B2B model. So when it comes to a B2B model, it's this: some company, some brokerage, they do something in the financial, in the non-crypto financial world. They can approach a layer one blockchain, and they're like, hey, we want to do something together with you. We believe we were filtering out, and we think your tech is superior, and we want to do something together. And then the outcome will not really be visible for the end user, but they will be using our tech in the background as an infrastructure. So this is what's happening on this front, and this has to do with some settlement. So there is right now, the way the traditional finance is being traded, you have this like central registry where things are recorded, and then once you trade, even on Robinhood, once you buy a stock, you know the settlement takes a couple of days, even though you see the stock in your app. It's not really officially under your name yet. It takes some time. So we are working with some big names to try to create an alternative that would make this settlement between the parties that they have extremely fast and then provable. This is a big step, and this is basically TradeFi, right? So this so what's important to understand here, which I think was a bit of a mistake that the whole ecosystem did, is we were splitting Web 2 and Web 3. It's like, yeah, this is completely different, like tech, completely different paradigm. We don't want to do anything with Web 2 because we're rebuilding the whole situation in a different manner. And I think this was the mistake, because what the reality is we need Web 2 in order to get to Web 3. So there has to be some transition, and some people called it Web 2.5, right? So this is exactly that. Instead of looking at Web 2 companies as like enemies or as like evil or whatever, Reef is actually working with them to help them transition from Web 2 to Web 3. And this is really big, because there is so many of these companies that are open-minded, they're actually happy to do this, but they want to find a way, they want to find a proper spot that they can start and they can try this technology. So this is what we are focused on this front. And I think the whole approach is very, very promising, and will really differentiate Reef from the other layer ones on the long run. Regarding the Reef card, in Latin America, basically it's still not there. We are, as you probably guys know, we are working with a third-party provider for the Reef card. We are trying to get Apple Pay out there, as well as virtual cards for some countries. I still cannot say which countries, because they're not officially approved, but they're like big countries. They're not part of Europe or UK. So with this, we are going to expand to a bigger region, but I still cannot say exactly which country these are, because there is still the approval process is still into place. So we don't know if which of these will be approved, which of them will not be approved. But what I can say is that Apple Pay is coming very soon. Okay, I see this. Yeah, so Flavio, regarding the public validator program, as you've probably noticed that we've integrated staking within Binance. So basically, Binance is nominating a validator, the user's tokens. So you're kind of participating in this with by staking there. That's the first one. The second option is directly in our wallet. We have the bond. So you can just click one button, and then you are also like what happens here, the bond is a proxy. So it, instead of you going through like a complex mechanism to nominate certain validators, the bond itself is using the tokens to nominate a public validator, which then funnels the rewards back into the bond. So the more people lock in the bond, the more nominators basically are nominating the public validator. So it's already live. We've put identity into it. So what's the issue is that the public cannot one by one, they cannot coordinate themselves to create a validator slot from scratch, because there's so many users and they all have like certain number of tokens. So it's so hard to coordinate all these thousands of users to vote under certain validator. That's why we've deployed this bond, which is technically a proxy where users lock all the tokens inside, and then they earn the reward because the tokens from the bond are actually nominating for the validator. I hope that explains it. And if not, feel free to ask the question question on Telegram, and I will make sure that we have like that our community managers are able to explain it better than me. Where do you see Reef in the next 5 years? Well, we are targeting to be the in top five layer one ecosystems. Obviously, this is our ambition. And in times like this, when a lot of projects give up, we are more and more confident that we will achieve this. It will be hard. There is a lot of work to be done, but we are committed. We're not going anywhere. So this is our target. I think I covered most of the questions here. Yeah, someone answered already the burning, the proof of stake. Cool. So I think that's basically that. Regarding the mobile app, there is some other questions. It is still not available for public testing. We are just internally testing it on test flight on the iPhone. We need to push a couple of more updates, and then we need to do some UX improvements, like add transitions and etc. And then we will create a public testing program where certain number of users will get invite codes, and they'll be able to test this app, and then they will be rewarded for testing this app. I can't wait for this to happen, because I know that a lot of users are excited for the mobile wallet, and we are really pushing to get this out as soon as possible. So that's basically it. Thank you again for following. We'll do this community call again soon. Hopefully by then we will have the mobile app up and running, so we can have some Q&As for that as well. But in any case, I suggest that you guys follow our social media, take a look at our GitHub as well. Most of our stuff is open source. You could see that we are really active and progressing and working with a lot of developers and a lot of projects. Then I hope you stay safe out there. Make sure you get like hardware wallet, and you learn how to interact not with just the centralized part of this blockchain ecosystem, but with the actual tech. And yeah, we're looking forward to ship more products, and we're looking forward to onboard you on more of our stuff really soon. Thanks again. Have a great week ahead.